Hello and welcome to 5-Minute Math. Today we are looking at the 8th grade concept of using the Pythagorean Theorem. This is standard 8.7c in the great state of Texas, and we are using item number 5 of the 2018 released STAAR test. If you have not done so already, please go ahead and take a moment to pause the video, work this problem out on your own, unpause it, and we will look at our answers together. So Natasha is walking from the library to the grocery store. So we've got from here to here. Looks like we got 1.7 miles. That's a pretty long walk. And then to her house. The diagram shows the top view of the locations of these three places and their distances from each other. All right, so and then to the grocery store, back to her house. So which measurement is closest to the shortest distance in miles from her house to the library? So we're just walking straight. Instead of going from library to the grocery store to her house, which is almost a mile, we just want to go straight there. Well, as you can tell here, they didn't tell us in the words, but they did show us in the picture. We've got a right angle right here. So we got a classic right triangle. And so we actually have some names here. So these two sides of a right triangle that connect to the right angle are both called the legs. And then what we have, this long, always the longest side. See if I can spell that one correctly. Hypotenuse, there we go. Let's just use one N. This longest side is always going to be the hypotenuse, and it's always directly across from our right angle. And so what we know here is the Pythagorean theorem tells us that if you take each of these legs and imagine that they are the sides of a square, right? So I'm going to call this side A. So this would be the area of A squared, because it's a square. I'm going to say this is B, and I can't draw it to scale because it's going to kind of go off the screen a little bit, but that would be the B side, and that would be, the area would be B squared. If you take the area of A squared and the area of B squared and you add them together, it doesn't matter the size of the right triangle, and this also is going to kind of go off just kind of pretend we're going to get here. This is actually always going to equal the square of the hypotenuse. So this is where we get our A squared plus B squared equals C squared. And it doesn't matter what right triangle you use, that is always correct. So we can actually use that to find missing side lengths. And so our A is going to be that 0.9, so we can just kind of plug this stuff in right here. So our A is 0.9, so we need to square that. And our B is going to be that 1.7. So the two legs squared always equals the hypotenuse squared. And C is what we're looking for. We're looking for this distance between her house and the library. They don't label it, but we'll go ahead and label it as C. All right, so now we need to do a little bit of calculation here. Remember, the 0.9 squared does not mean 0.9 times 2. It means 0.9 times 0.9. Right, so we can go ahead and write that out. 0.9 times 0.9. Plus, same thing, 1.7 times itself, 1.7. It's not 1.7 times 2. All right, so 9 times 9 is 81. We've got two decimals, so it's 0.81. Then 1.7 squared is going to be 2.89. And then that's going to equal C squared. So we add those two up. And using our calculator here, we get a 3.7. Now, that's not one of the answer selections, nor should it be, because that's not the answer. I haven't isolated the variable. What I need to do is I need to take the square root of both, because I have a squared, so I need to take the square root. So if I take the square root of 3.7, that's where we get our answer of 1.9235. And you see our answer. The closest here is going to be B.